Ethiopia aims to surpass its record on Monday's massive tree planting campaign. And the Sudanese army returns to Jeddah for talks as war returns 4 months. Hello and welcome to Addis News Hour, broadcasting to you live from Addis Ababa. The Green Legacy is about protecting, respecting and prospecting, Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said. Presenting have been completed to plant 500 million tree seedlings on July 17, 2023 across Ethiopia. The Prime Minister tweeted, "Our objective is to break our own record." He also indicated, "Our competition is with ourselves." The Prime Minister stated and added that the regions, zones, districts and villages have break their own records by planting more than last year, each of us to break our own records. Close quote. The Green Legacy is about protecting, respecting and prospering Ethiopia. It's about changing the course of history and doing it for the next generation, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said. Expressing his readiness to plant more plants, Abiy urged all Ethiopians to be ready for breaking their previous record by planting trees tomorrow, July 17, 2023. It should be recalled that the nation planted a record 350 million trees in a single day, and this year's seedlings planting intended to surpass the previous record by 150 million seedlings. You are watching the live transmission of Addis News Hour from the land of origins, Ethiopia. Hopefully, Ethiopia will plant 500 million seedlings by tomorrow. The Minister of Agriculture, Girma Mente, announced that Ethiopia has finalized preparation to plant 500 million saplings just in a day. In the last 4 years, Ethiopia has planted 25 billion saplings in the Green Legacy initiatives and in the development campaign, and in the second phase, preparations are complete for planting another 25 sapling seedlings. The July 17 campaign will enable Ethiopia to break its own planting record. Johannes Fenton has more.
Human-induced climate change is causing devastating and widespread disruption in nature and affecting the lives of billions of people around the world, despite efforts to reduce the risks. Planting trees is a topmost solution that must be taken into consideration in order to stop climate change and lessen the harm that it causes. Since starting a massive plantation and green development program in the form of a grassroots movement 4 years ago, Ethiopia has been observing significant changes years after after year. The 4-year sapling program's first phase saw the plantation of a total of 25 billion seedlings. The first phase of the tree plantation program was successfully completed, and the second phase was announced to plant an additional 25 billion saplings, bringing the total to 50 billion. In the first phase, Ethiopia has achieved a record of planting more than 300 million seedlings within a single day, and in this second phase tree plantation program, Ethiopia has intended to plant 500 million seedlings only in a single day on July 17.
የነገው ተከላ ፕሮግራም ችግኝ ከመትከል በላይ ነው የሚያሰኙ ሶስት ዋና ጉዳዮች አሉ። በአሁኑ ሰዓት በዓለም ላይ ዓለምን እያሰጋ ያለው የአየር ንብረት ለውጥን
There are three basic reasons why this program is more important than just planting seedlings. One is that Ethiopia and Ethiopians are responding with united arms to climate change that is threatening the world at the same time. Second, it is because the Ethiopians will repeat the victory they achieved in Adwa in the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam through green legacy. Third, it is a historic opportunity to show the level Ethiopia has reached in the field of digital technology by collecting the information of seedlings planted across the country in one data center and making it public to the world.
የኢትዮጵያ መንደሮችና ከተማዎች በአንድ ጊዜ የሚሰሩ ስራዎች ወደ አንድ መረጃ ቋት መጥተው
Government institutions have finished making all necessary preparations for the event, according to the Minister of Agriculture, who urged all Ethiopians to participate in the plantation of 500 million saplings in a single day.
እንግዲህ ለህዝባችን የምናደርገው ጥሪ በተለይ በዚህ ዝግጅት ላይ በጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር ጽፈት ቤት አስተባባሪነት
The Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Science and Innovation, the Space Science Institute, Ethio Telecom, INSA and Artificial Intelligence Institutes have finalized preparations for this event under the coordination of the Prime Minister's office. So every Ethiopian must come out early Monday morning and must put their legacy on the land of Ethiopia.
ዛሬም እንደተናንቱ በነቂስ ወጥቶ ጠዋት ከ12 ሰዓት ጀምሮ እስከ ማታ 12 ሰዓት ድረስ
The minister also called on Ethiopians to replicate the success gained in planting with additional follow-up to enable the seedlings to grow, while announcing the plan to showcase achievements of the planting of 500 million seedlings to the world with the aid of technology.
ነገ የምንተክላቸው ችግኞችን ነገ ተክለን ብቻ ዞረም
After planting the seedlings, we should not leave them. We should care for the seedlings that we have already planted. We all have to plant, care for and grow saplings with the idea that we can benefit the world, because the 500 million saplings we plant are directly observed by everyone. Since we began with the guiding principle of planting tomorrow today, I contend that we will break our own record by planting 5 million trees.
ማበርከት የምንችል መሆኑን ከነገ ጀምሮ እንክብካቤያችን መቀጠል አለብን።
The plantation campaign is anticipated to be a great success for all Ethiopians, in addition to the mental satisfaction of planting numerous seedlings in a single day.
Moving to the next news, you are watching the live transmission of Addis News Hour from the African capital, Addis Ababa. UNIDO representative in Ethiopia expressed readiness to participate in tree planting campaign on Monday morning, July 17, 2023. Oriel Patrice Kalboro stressed that Ethiopia is on the right track to show the world how to tackle climate change challenges. Tigasar Nisa has more from the Ethiopian News Agency.
With the mission of planting seedlings in cities and rural areas to improve the benefit of forest for the country's socio-ecological goals and realizing Ethiopia's prosperity, the country has planted over 25 billion saplings across the country and also the neighboring countries. Spearheaded by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the country is about to plant another 25 billion seedlings across the nation, which will be kick-starting on 17th of July 2023 by planting 500 million seedlings on just 24 hours' time. That's expected to hit world records. Talking to Ethiopian News Agency, Special Agency of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization representative in Ethiopia, Arella Patricia Calabro, stressed that she's ready to participate to plant trees on Monday morning.
Monday morning I am going to participate. We have been invited by the Prime Minister office and by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to plant. I am participating myself, and I have participated in the past years also to this initiative, you see. So I will have to be, we are going to the Gulel, you know, Botanic, and they will put also my name apparently there, you see. I'm looking forward at 6 o'clock in the morning, so it will be quite an interesting exercise.
The representative further added that Ethiopia is on the right track to show the world how to tackle climate change challenges.
Ethiopia is a country of biodiversity, you see, and it has been affected by different natural disasters. Either we have the droughts or we have the floods, you see, many other things. So to show this responsibility that you are promoting, you know, a green legacy, also substituting the eucalyptus trees in Addis Ababa, I think it's a way to show to the world that Ethiopia is on the map, that the climate change is not just a lip service, you see, that we are doing.
Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative envisions ensuring the development of the country through implementing efficient rural and urban green initiatives based on research and development by coordinating human power and institutional and technical capacities at all levels.
It's not only just planting trees for greening the environment. The majority is actually contributing to food security, because around 55% or more of the plant trees and are fruit trees and other agroforestry, indigenous trees and agroforestry practices. So it's only the remaining 45% or so that is meant for just forestry.
That has led to a various even partnership amongst, like, for example, countries like Kenya that are also starting their own initiative by planting, I don't know the exact number, but a lot of numbers of trees just like Ethiopia. This has led sort of conversations to start, one, to also tackle the concept of desertification, which has been facing, which has been a huge issue in regards to Ethiopia and also some sub-Saharan countries. Right. And also the way that we are going to be cultivating it is sort of like growing day by day.
Most of the Green Legacy Initiative work is through, very high public participation. So it creates awareness. So from participation on the Green Legacy, actually people get awareness, not only just tree planting, so get awareness, and that kind of public participation, if it spreads also to other countries in the Horn of Africa, which are, most of the countries in the Horn of Africa are even vulnerable to drought, are more exposed to desertification. So if they participate on such well-planned and nature-based solution approach for agriculture, for forestry and the like, it helps them.
Not only for Africans, but also the world. We have been the ones that had the record of planting so many trees in just one day. Not only that, the inspiration comes from even the concept of having Ethiopian related projects, because if you go across the continent, the view that they have for Ethiopia is really seen into their eyes. Our identity is really engraved in each of the African nations, and when we are the leaders of actually tackling this big issue, we are now helping various communities to also okay, if Ethiopia is also doing this, we need to be part of this.
Hopefully, the intervention will be successful in the coming Monday. Moving to the next news. Ethiopia is one of the richest African countries which have many fauna and flora that serve as panacea for the negative impacts of climate change. To balance its rich biodiversity, Ethiopia has been implementing the Green Legacy Initiative over the past decades to enhance sustainable development. Talking to the TV program, Deputy Director for Director General for the Ethiopian Biodiversity Institute said the Green Legacy Initiative helps reduce the rate of deforestation over and above removing 64 million gasoline-powered gas from the roads for a whole year. Haptana Shagri has compiled the following report. Let's take a look.
Ethiopia plans over 25 billion saplings over the past 4 years to realize inclusive and sustainable development. The East African nation plans to restore at least 22 million hectares of its degraded land by 2030. Talking with the TV English program, Deputy Director General of Ethiopian Biodiversity Institute, Fallaqe Waldayes, said the Green Legacy Initiative is meant to counterbalance the negative impact of climate change in the globe.
At the era of climate change, the global community is very much bothered about increasing temperature at the global level or global warming. So it is a fundamental step to plant trees that absorb gases that contribute to global warming. So in terms of global climate change, such kind of initiatives would have a very wide-reaching impact.
According to Waldayes, engaging in the Green Legacy Initiative campaign is crucial to restore the ecosystem as well and forestall undesirable effects of climate change.
It is useful for restoring our vegetation cover. Ethiopia had proportionally a good vegetation cover some 100 to 100 years ago. This vegetation cover has been reduced very significantly, and now we are at a critical stage. We need to regain at least some of this vegetation, particularly in terms of forests, woodlands. So we call this it is restoration. We need to restore degraded environments, ecosystem.
Waldayes underlined that despite success achieved so far, conserving the nation's natural resource is an area that leaves much to be desired. Ethiopia is one of the 25 countries in the globe that has mega biodiversity potential. Ethiopia has lately stunned the world with its record high number of seedlings for the next 4 years. With the view it has paved the way for the plantation of 50 billion seedlings in 4 years of time, Ethiopia is rolling up its sleeves to plant over 500 million saplings a day.
The trees we plant in Ethiopia are not only simply trees, but there are also some agroforestry trees, fruit crops, horticultural plants. So again, there is a benefit in relation to food security. So we say the benefits are multifaceted.
Authorities are now pushing to turn the annual tree planting campaign into a green culture. The average survival rate of seedling planted, described mostly indigenous and high-value types such as bamboo, was also put at 84%.
Welcome back. You are watching the live transmission of Addis News Hour from the African capital, Addis Ababa. The Environment Protection Authority, EPA, announced that Ethiopia's forest coverage has jumped over 17% due to massive tree seedlings planting carried out over the past 4 years through the Green Legacy Initiative. Environment Protection Authority Director General Getahun Garados said over 25 billion saplings have been planted following the Green Legacy Initiative launched by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in June 2019. As a result, there are even some satellite images that show the forest coverage has reached 23%, he added. According to the Director General, Ethiopia's forest coverage, which was over 40% in 2017, had dropped to 3% since the launching of the Green Legacy Initiative. However, the figure jumped over 17%. In addition, avocado tree planting 4 years ago are now ready for export. They are also used for food, have ecosystem values, sequester carbon, and clean the air, among others. The Green Legacy Initiative is saving the damage caused to the environment by improving use of natural resources in the past years, and it is helpful for conserving biodiversity and ecosystem, and efforts are being made to expand the program to neighboring countries. He said that Ethiopia wants this practice to expand to neighboring countries and maintain it in the countries as a system. Some 361 and 415 hectares of land has been prepared for planting 500 million seedlings in a single day on Monday, July 17, according to the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Welcome to the land of origins. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia is pleased to serve all your traveler banking needs. If you have money from any of these 16 countries, you can convert it to local currency by visiting our nearest branch. Alternatively, our secure Forex ATMs accept cash exchange, or if you prefer using your cards, we've partnered with Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay so that you can withdraw cash from our local ATMs or make cashless transactions at thousands of local POS partners securely and with confidence. We are linked with more than 700 global banks through our direct SWIFT address, CBE Teta. We also work with 16 international money transfer agents, out of which Tune and World Remit enable you to make direct deposits into our savings and current accounts or our popular CBE Burr mobile wallet. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, the bank you can always rely on.
For sure, Ethiopians who are determined to plant seedlings across the country will plant over 500 million seedlings by tomorrow. So far, Ethiopia has planted over 25 billion seedlings within 5 years. Let's move to the next news. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR Deputy Representative Antonio Margaret said Ethiopia is one of the few countries in the world that has a very generous and very progressive refugee policies that accommodates and grants refugees the right to access service and make livelihoods here in the country. The Deputy Representative of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Ethiopia, Margaret Antonio, told ENA that Ethiopia's refugees policy is very progressive and generous. Well, it is indicated Ethiopia has recently insisted that instead of putting refugees in camps where they are confined and not able to move, the government has allowed them to settle freely within the community where they will be able to live normally, Antonio elaborated. Moreover, the Deputy Representative added that what Ethiopia has normally seen is that the host communities are the first to respond when UNHCR has crisis. Even before it came, they give food and they share homes here in Ethiopia. Speaking about the recent Sudan refugees entering Ethiopia, the UNHCR Deputy Representative said the numbers are growing as the conflict has forced hundreds of thousands of people to flee the neighboring countries, including Ethiopia. Sudanese refugees have been entering Ethiopia through multiple border crossings points in Amhara, Benshangul Gumuz, and in the Gambela region. According to UNHCR projection, there could be about 70,000 Sudanese refugees who may want to seek asylum in Ethiopia by the end of this year if the situation is not changing. Ethiopia is one of the largest refugee hosting countries in Africa by sheltering hundreds of thousands of refugees and asylum seekers. The UNHCR is working closely with the government of Ethiopia to support the refugees here in the country. And text Ethiopia as a case study was launched in Addis Ababa on Saturday. The book titled Africa-China Relation is written by Malaku Mulalam, an Ethiopian who works at the Institute of Foreign Affairs. His book explores the historical development of China's relation with Ethiopia from the early days of the People's Republic of China to the present day. It also examines the impact of China's economic and political engagement on Ethiopia. Speaking at the launch ceremony, House of People's Representatives, Foreign Relations and Peace Affairs Standing Committee and Ethiopia-China Parliamentary Friendship Group Chairperson Dimanego said the book is a welcome addition to the literature that already existed. Ethiopia is one of the first countries to have start a relationship with China, he noted. Recalling that China was denied to sit on its own chair at the United Nations Security Council. Instead, the Chinese seat was occupied by Taiwan because of ideological power reason. However, as soon as a large number of African states gained independence, the United States General Assembly overwhelmingly voted to restore China's seat, he noted. Minister Counselor of China, Shen Qinmin, said the book helps to show the historical developments of China relations with Africa and specifically with Ethiopia. The book also documents the evolution of China-Ethiopia relation using original historical research and political examination.
Welcome to the land of origins. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia is pleased to serve all your traveler banking needs. If you have money from any of these 16 countries, you can convert it to local currency by visiting our nearest branch. Alternatively, our secure Forex ATMs accept cash exchange, or if you prefer using your cards, we've partnered with Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay so that you can withdraw cash from our local ATMs or make cashless transactions at thousands of local POS partners securely and with confidence. We are linked with more than 700 global banks through our direct SWIFT address, CBE Teta. We also work with 16 international money transfer agents, out of which Tune and World Remit enable you to make direct deposits into our savings and current accounts or our popular CBE Burr mobile wallet. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, the bank you can always rely on.
Just officially entering into the Masai Mara National Reserve. Where our camp is the Mara North Conservancy. So it's a conservation area, but it's not technically like the National Reserve. The National Reserve is actually $80 US per person per day to get in. So it's very steep. If you're planning a trip to the Mara in Kenya, keep that in mind. And that's something that's usually not included in your camp. Come across a pride of lions. There's a bunch of them.
That was so cool.
Oh, yeah. We found a cheetah. What a treat. Oh, my God.
Our final news takes us to neighboring Sudan. The Sudanese army representatives have returned to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia for talks with the Rapid Support Force, RSF, as the war entered its 4 months. The RSF has made no comments on returning to the talks in Jeddah, which Saudi and the United States mediators adjourned last month after a series of repeatedly violated ceasefire. However, a government source told the AFP anonymously that a delegation of the armed forces has returned to Jeddah to resume negotiation with the RSF. Reuters also quoted sources saying that, open quote, Sudanese representatives have arrived in Saudi Arabia's Jeddah to resume talks, close quotes. Meanwhile, Sovereign Council member Lieutenant General Yasir Alat said that the military operations are proceeding and the war will end soon. Clashes continued over the past 3 months, leading 1.7 million civilians to escape Khartoum. More than 2.4 million people have been displaced to other parts of Sudan, where roadblocks, the breakdown of the banking system, and fragile health services means responders are really kept to meet soaring demand. Humanitarian relief organizations have reportedly called for safe corridors to transport aid, and workers have also previously warned that the rainy season, which began in June, could cause the spread of disease. It should be recalled that the East African region bloc, IGAD, and the Cairo summit reiterated the Sudanese rivals to declare immediate ceasefire. Let's recap the headlines. Ethiopia aims to surpass the record on Monday's massive tree planting campaign. And the Sudanese army returns to Jeddah for talks as war enters 4 months. That's all for the edition. Thank you for your company. Have a good stay with the rest of our programs.
It's not only just planting trees for greening the environment. The majority is actually contributing to food security, because around 55% or more of the plant trees and are fruit trees and other agroforestry, indigenous trees and agroforestry practices. So it's only the remaining 45% or so that is meant for just forestry.
That has led to a various even partnership amongst, like, for example, countries like Kenya that are also starting their own initiative by planting, I don't know the exact number, but a lot of numbers of trees just like Ethiopia. This has led sort of conversations to start, one, to also tackle the concept of desertification, which has been facing, which has been a huge issue in regards to Ethiopia and also some sub-Saharan countries. Right. And also the way that we are going to be cultivating it is sort of like growing day by day.
Most of the Green Legacy Initiative work is through, very high public participation. So it creates awareness. So from participation on the green legacy, actually people get awareness, not only just tree planting, so get awareness, and that kind of public participation, if it spreads also to other countries in the Horn of Africa, which are, most of the countries in the Horn of Africa are even vulnerable to drought, are more exposed to desertification. So if they participate on such, well-planned and nature-based solution approach for agriculture, for forestry, and the like, it helps them.
Not only for Africans, but also the world. We have been the ones that had the record of planting so many trees in just one day. Not only that, the inspiration comes from even the concept of having Ethiopian related projects, because if you go across the continent, the view that they have for Ethiopia is really seen into their eyes. Our identity is really engraved in each of the African nations, and when we are the leaders of actually tackling this big issue, we are now helping various communities to also okay, if Ethiopia is also doing this, we need to be part of this.